Hey everybody, welcome to the Herd Fit Podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset.
All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit Podcast. I'm Coach David Syvertsen. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. and Coach Sam Rhee. We are going to dive into a topic today right away. That is something that is very relevant to what we've discussed several times. We've done an actual episode on RX versus scale. This actual conversation comes up on a near weekly basis, whether it's banter in the gym, in this podcast room, with the coaches. And sometimes I feel like it's not enough. This is a hill I will die on. I think every workout in CrossFit should have a prescription with weights, movements, volume, loads, times, to just throw movements and say, hey, go pick your own weight every single day. Go pick your volume every single day. It just wouldn't be CrossFit if that's what it was. And, we're in the effort to make everything better in time, right? We never want to settle. I've been thinking about this for well over a year, about getting away from just RX and just scaled. The CrossFit Open has done this. When I started, there was just RX. Here's the workout, guys. Can't do it? Okay, here's the workout. There's no scaled. And then they brought in a scale division about 5 years into it, 6 years into it. And now there's foundations. So CrossFit is kind of doing this with the Open. And I've always used CrossFit and with the way they prescribe workouts, especially in the Open, to use as a barometer for what we're doing. We're trying to match the Open caliber workouts and maybe in some cases quarterfinal. But I think there's something left to do. I think it's not good enough, and I don't have the solution yet. And like any problem that comes up, you come up with potential solutions and you try it out. So CrossFit Bison is trying something January, February, once or twice a week, and it's called the levels system, meaning there's specific workouts that have level 1, level 2, etc. And we'll talk into how many levels there can be. Complicated, yes. Complex, yes. New, yes. Uncomfortable for some, yes. Confusing, absolutely. Don't fix what isn't broken is the thought that keeps coming into my head. Have RX, scale down from there. Sam, this relates to something we've disagreed on in the past. Having a master's RX, having age group RX. You're very, very much against that idea. And does this approach that conversation, or because it's not doing with age, it makes a little bit more sense?
It makes more sense because it's not, I don't want to say discriminating, but it's not stratifying people according to some criteria. So that would be the equivalent of saying, if you weigh 150 pounds plus, you got to do it this way. If you're under 150 pounds, use it this way. Like, why would you do that? That makes no sense. Same with age. We have some 35 plus athletes that are crushing the under 35. So why would you use an arbitrary number of age to figure out who's doing what?
Yeah.
Now, that being said, once I hit 55, am I going to jump for joy because I could do better in the Open? Absolutely, I will. And I'll take it because that's the way they set it up. But for an everyday evaluation of myself, I don't like that age masters RX. Now, levels, and we'll talk about this too, because we've done a couple levels workouts, or at least one.
Yep.
And I have some mixed feelings about it. And I want to talk about one of the workouts and sort of how you stratified it, what you thought about it, and then my experience with it. And then also looking at the whiteboard, because it really means a different way to look at the whiteboard.
Yeah.
And more than anything else.
Yep.
Because I would if there wasn't the level system, I might have scaled the workout to this, that, or the other thing, but depending on the workout. But I think the levels, it has some pluses and minuses in it, and I think it was so interesting to me looking at the whiteboard that first day.
Yeah. So let's introduce the actual concept behind the level system. This actually idea, I want to say, was probably first put into my head during the Lorong challenges. If you remember back to these January, February pre-reset challenges that our gym did, they release a workout every Monday for the entire challenge. Like there was 5 or 6 of these. There wasn't just one. And each one of them had different levels. And it was basically RX plus, RX and scaled. And you essentially had to pick one of those, but then we would have to, modify a couple things for a couple people. So, and back then, level 3 was the hardest, right? And I'm going to tell us why we're doing it this way. Level 1 is the hardest way of doing a workout here. And because I'm not sure how many levels there should be. So if this week, this episode is going to come out after we did a workout this last Tuesday that had hang cleans, sit-ups, and jump rope. And level 1 was the hardest. It had weights that, I don't know, maybe 3 to 5% of our gym can move in a workout. Then you have level 2, which is equivalent to what a normal Bison RX would be. Level 3 would be a little bit easier. But now, and that's where I was going to end it, where you have 3 levels, and then you have scaled. Hey, I couldn't do any of those. I had to scale, or I had to mix and match them. But now, because I did this with the Bison benchmark workout, the reset workout, I created 5 levels where I think 95% of our gym could pick one of those levels. And you're going down to really light weights, empty barbell caliber weights. And because of our experience and how many people we see work out on a daily basis, I have a very good feeling that everyone in our gym can hit one of these levels. And in time, though, you can add levels. If it's, hey, we need something easier, let's add level 5. Let's add level 6. So that's why I'm starting with level 1 is by far the hardest level, and it's a little bit harder than what we're normally used to going. If you looked at our Bison program from the outside, you would say pretty hard programming. Not the hardest. We've seen the hardest. Mayhem. Proven, right? And then level 2 would be where Bison RX is, level 1 is harder than that. All right? And I would say, got to be careful saying this, it would be more for the people that are competing or trying to compete at the highest level. Quarterfinals, semifinals, maybe even the games, right? That's who that programming is for. Level 2 would be, hey, I'm really fit. I can pretty much do everything in CrossFit. I'm never going to have to scale workout in the open. I'm going to make quarterfinals. I'm level 2 all day, every day. Level 3 would be, for those that have been Bison for a long time, hey, what was Bison RX like 6-7 years ago? And you've been here long enough that you would know the contrast between now and then. Some of you guys don't know, but it's a little lighter, a little less volume, a little bit less complexity. Still not easy by any means. But then you start going down to level 4, level 5. At some point, it's got to end. But you're also trying to keep this inclusive. Sam, when you start hearing level 1, level 2, harder, easier, is this too complex?
It's not for the athletes, I would say, when you look at it, because you can choose where it actually helps the athletes on one level, because you can look at it and be like, oh, I can do all of those things. When you stratify it like that. It does take some time if you're just RX scale to figure out what your scaled is.
Right.
This helps you if you typically scale workouts where you should go with it. As a programmer, how much extra time does it take to put together a workout with levels versus RX scaled?
Not as much. Other people have offered advice and guidance with me on this, and they said it's going to be too much work for you. It would be a lot of upfront work, because essentially I would just take all of the weights, just put them to a spreadsheet and say, when level 2 is this, level 1 is this. Basically what I would do is program level 2, because that's what Bison RX would be. And then I would just say, all right, when I see this weight, level 1's got to be this, level 2's got to be that, level 3's got to be that. All right. And like that would be some upfront work, but I already have some stuff on my computer on a spreadsheet that makes that process a little bit easier. So it wouldn't be a lot of upfront work. The problem with work and complexity at the programmer is you have to find consistency. And really, when you're looking at levels, I would say 9 out of 10 times it has to do with the weights. Every now and then you could throw some more complicated or strict gymnastics in, but you don't want to play with the volume too much. You don't want to play with the time of a workout too much, because now you're really starting to separate the gym and everyone's doing different workouts, and you never want to do that. But that's getting kind of ahead of myself right now in terms of why I don't want to do this. I want to talk about why I want to do this. And the reason why is the gap between, I hate using this term, I use it very seldomly, the best and worst is bigger than it's ever been. I would even say the gap between goals in this gym is more than it's ever been. And as the gym grows, the membership grows, now you're seeing it's one thing if you have 1 or 2 people shooting for something and they're at a certain level. When you have 15 to 20, when you have 30, when you have, the amount of people that we have that are really pursuing something at a high level, you feel more pressure to serve them, right? I feel a lot of pressure programming to protect people, especially new people, especially people that are older and they have no desire to compete. They don't want to push that hard. They just want to work out and not get hurt. That's the majority of our gym, all right? The vast majority, I would even say. But I still feel a lot of pressure to serve the people that are on the opposite side, where they're not just pursuing health. They are pursuing performance. They're pursuing sport, and they need to be pushed. For some of them, one workout per day, it's not enough. So I feel like I'm leaving them short as a coach, as a programmer, as a guide, whatever, if I don't try to push them without just adding more workouts to their day.
I see this as a coach, and it's my job as a coach to make it a real experience for the top and the bottom of performers, regardless, and to make them see the meaning and the value in it. That is the challenge as a coach executing your programming. This past week, we had the workout I coached was very light hang power snatches at 50% of a 1 rep max, and then followed by a 2K row. Now that wasn't on paper the most exciting workout. And if you're someone who just comes in and you want to get a sweat on and you just want to work out, you would look at that and be like, why on God's green earth would I do this? And it was my job as a coach, if you stepped in that door, to show you that there was value in working on your snatch technique and thinking about how to drive your hips quickly in order to move that bar fast.
You did a very good job but I'm just saying that. You did a very good job that day.
Thanks. And to see that will help you even as an athlete who just wants to work out for the day. Like there's going to be tremendous value in that, to move well with that. And then to figure out how to convince those guys that, instead of just rowing 2K at 50% of your effort, like really trying to give a max effort, strategizing, thinking about it. When you put even the most casual athletes into a position to perform, you are pushing their envelope so that even their most casual workouts are going to be better. And when you can do that, you've brought value to them, and they can see that. And the top performers, they might want to go, you know what, I know how to snatch at 50% of my weight. I need to. You can do better. You can improve your technique. You can do listen, don't go up on the weight. Just check your ego and see how fast you can drive your hips. How fast can you move that barbell? And if they bought into it, that helped them. And then the 2K row, it's actually a little bit harder sometimes to convince the best athletes to do that, because they know how awful it can get. So, when you show up at a 6 a.m. and you convince someone to maybe go 10% harder than maybe they would have, like they thought, I can give an 80% effort, I'm going to give a 90. There's value in that too. And so I think every day, and we see that more and more, there is a challenge in finding people to buy in at both levels.
Yeah.
And I think the level system will help with that, honestly. I think instead of just saying I was scaled, to say I was level 3 or level 4 brings more meaning and value to your workout.
Right. So those are the pros right there, that it keeps you on track. It keeps you in check based on where you are and what your goals are. And some of the cons of doing this is obviously complexity for the programmer, right? Which, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to accept some of that. It's also some complexity for coaches too, because here's the situation. I want to give a mixed modal workout example. And this is just going to add stress to a coach. Let's say there's a workout, AMRAP 20, 5 ring muscle ups, 10 hang cleans, 35 double unders. All right, there's the workout. 5 muscle ups, 10 hang cleans, 35 double unders, mixed modal. Okay, level 1, that's your workout. That's the toughest version. Your RX weight is 205, 135. Okay, and you have to do crossovers instead of double unders. Okay, level 2, Bison RX. Ring or bar muscle ups, RX weight 135, 95, double unders. We have people in this gym that want to do those ring muscle ups and crossovers, but they can't lift that weight. So now they really can't do the level 1 workout, but they could do everything, but there's one thing they can't do. So what do you do in that situation, right? I could think of 20 people in this gym that would have to, they want level 1, but there's one thing in there they can't do. So they're going to modify it. They're going to take the level 1 gymnastics. They're going to take the level 2 weight, or vice versa. They're going to take the level 1 the level 1 weight, level 2 gymnastics. And now, what is that? Are we going to have a coach write 1-2 ring muscle? No, we're not. We've gotten away from that years ago. We're not writing down every detail of your workout. There's too many of you, right? So in my eyes, it's you're picking level 1 or level 2, period. That's it. It's like the open, right? Or you're scaled. So you're going to have level 1, level 2, level 3 on that whiteboard. Here are the movements, here are the workouts, or you're scaled. And what I like about this, I'm going to reverse the con, that this will help negate, get rid of RX is good, scaled is bad. Because you will have some of the best athletes in this gym that will have an SC next to their name. And now, because I've been trying to preach this, and I think it's a losing battle right now, but I will not give up. When you scale workout, doesn't mean you're bad at CrossFit, doesn't mean you're out of shape. It just means you changed it. All right, here's the RX prescriptions. You had to change it. Quoting Rhee last week, it's like, yeah, because you couldn't do this. He doesn't get an acting job because he's too good looking or not good looking enough, too tall or not tall enough, right? It's like anytime you can't do level 1 because you're not strong enough, that's okay. You couldn't do level 2 because you couldn't do the gymnastics. So you're going to scale. But that doesn't mean you're not good enough. It's just the truth of the matter in the moment. So the con is that it can make things more complicated, more thinking for the athlete and the coach. But the pro that comes from that con is that it can really change the perspective of athletes and coaches of what this actually is. It is stimulus training. We're trying to get everyone in the room on the same page.
Let's go through, can we go through a real life example here? Because I want to.
Do you want to talk about this week's workout?
Well, last week's.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because I will tell you what my thoughts were figuring out what to do and how I thought about it looking at the whiteboard compared to other athletes.
The reset one? Shoulder to overhead.
Yeah.
Sorry, ground to overhead, burpee to target.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you could go through the different levels, and then I would tell you what I thought about choosing my levels and what I thought about like going through the whiteboard afterwards and what I think people might think about it.
Here we go. 12-minute workout. 12 ground to overhead, 18 burpee to target, 18 ground to overhead, 12 burpee to target. All right. Change weight. 8 ground to overhead, 12 burpees, 12 ground to overhead, 8 burpees, change weight again. 4 ground to overhead, 6 burpee to target, 6 ground to overhead, 4 burpee to target, change weight for the third time. Max ground to overhead and remaining time. It's a 12-minute workout. Level 1, the hardest, starts off 75-55, 125-85, 175-115, 225-145. Level 2, 75-55, 95-65, 135-95, 185-125. Level 3, 65-45, 85-55, 115-75, 155, 105. Level 4, the final level, all right, 45-35, 65-45, 75-55, 95-65. So you come into the whiteboard, you see that workout, the burpees and ground to overhead, which means clean and jerk or snatch, combination of the two. And then they say, hey, this is where you change weights. Well, what are my weights? You have to pick a level. Level 1 through 4, choose your battle. We gave some guidance at the whiteboard. There's your level workout.
So that was an easier one to program because the only thing that changed were for the levels were the weights for the ground to overhead.
Yep.
And they range from the hardest one was, what was the initial weight for level 1?
75-55 was the initial weight.
And you finished max ground to overhead at
225-145.
Right. And then the lightest one was similar, right?
The lightest one was 45-35 start, 95-65 end.
Right. So looking at that, you're looking at to determine what level you need to be at as an athlete, you need to see what kind of weights you can move for ground to overhead.
Right.
And the first thing you always look at is because the light weights are easy for anybody. Mm-hmm. Even for most, like for a lot of people, even the ones who are level 4 athletes, they're like, I could probably do 175 pound.
Yep.
Whatever.
And we struggle with that all the time as coaches.
Right. Yeah. Because you're looking at it like, can I do 1? Yeah. But can you do it over the course of a workout?
Sorry, let me interrupt.
Yeah.
This is exactly why the level system is a good thing. Someone will see that 75-55 in level 1, the hardest level.
Right.
And be like, bro, I can RX this, because they think they're good because RX will be next to their name.
Right.
but they're not getting the feel of the workout of what it's supposed to be.
Right, because they're capped out at maybe the first or second weight.
Exactly.
So they got like 30 reps.
Yeah, they did 30 reps in the workout, where really we're trying to get you guys like 90, 100, 120, 130 in that workout. And we tell people, we have to say this at the whiteboard all the time, that first barbell should feel like a piece of paper, not your 80% of your 1 rep max.
So then the other thing is you look at the heaviest weight and you're like, can I do, if you're a guy, 225 ground to overheads? Can I do 185? Can I do whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And so personally, I was like, I don't think I can do 225. That's my PR, and that was years ago. I haven't even gotten close to that right now.
Right.
But do I do level 1, knowing it's a challenge just to get through, and maybe I don't even get to that last barbell?
Right.
And I know a bunch of people who did level 1 did that, or maybe they just got 1.
Mm-hmm.
How many reps is it to get to the max? 125?
120 was to get to the max.
To the max.
Yep.
Okay. So there were some people that got capped at 120 doing level 1.
Saw a lot of 120s up
Yeah.
there.
And I said, I could probably do that. Or do I try to push myself and get level 2 and know that I can do 185 at the end, even though it's a lighter barbell, and just move faster?
Yep.
And I chose to do level 2 because I said, I really want to see if I can get to that last barbell and see how many I can do. I don't feel like I should just try to go and get capped out without getting to 225 without having any intention on it.
Right.
And
smart decision.
And I might be a little scared because I might try to hit 225 and hurt myself or something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I did that, and I did well for myself. I don't remember. I got into the 185s, and I did. I mean, maybe with about a minute left or so.
Did you get 2 there?
I got
2 or 3.
I got more than that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you said you had a minute left, so like
about a minute 30, and
okay. That changes things because a minute you just don't have that much time to.
Dude, I got 6 done. Okay,
nice,
6.
Awesome. Let's go.
There you go. So, and I looked at the whiteboard, and there were not that many guys that did level 2. Maybe like 4 or 3.
Okay.
Most of the people I look at the whiteboard who I compare myself to did level 1, and they might have gotten 1 or 2. A lot of them got capped out at 120.
Didn't even try it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was really hard for me to compare myself with anyone. Now, does my happiness with a workout depend on whom I compare myself to? It does not. Although I did look at it, and I did see Aaron, your brother, he got 1 more rep than me. He got 127. And I said, I did pretty well.
Yeah.
Compared to Aaron, I'm really happy with that. But I was unable to sort of compare myself to others whom I sort of wanted to.
It's kind of rough, though, because you come at 6, so there's only been 1 class there.
No, at the end of the day when I
look, because I feel like there's a more than that on level 2.
I wish there were some people that had done level 2 that didn't.
So here's a downfall of this level system, is you're leaving it up to them.
Right.
Like if we were really, I mean, this is an option where I tell you what level you're doing, but that's probably a little too in-depth, a little too controlling. But if I did that, I think you would have been more fulfilled from this regard, where, like, we said, because we did give the approach, hey, guys, you should be able to lift that last barbell. But you might not even get there, so as long as you can get through the 3rd one, it's okay. But again, it's a guess. So I understand what you're saying, that you wish more people did level 2 so that you can compare yourself.
And that's a selfish reason.
Yeah.
And did I get a great workout? I absolutely did. Did I push myself? Yes. Am I happy that I did it at level 2 and not level 1? Yes. Do I wish, if this happened every day, would that start to change the way I chose my levels?
Right.
It might.
Right.
It might.
So, and that's, I've seen this before where we have a pretty hard workout that the whole gym does. It's not heavy, it's not light, it's just kind of in the middle, right? Like most of our programming is. It's balanced, and you'll see some people that RX plus it. And we've had episodes, we've talked about RX plus, the good, the bad, mind your own business kind of stuff, right? Don't let the ego control it. Like, do you really have an intention behind doing it? But I truly do think there's some very honest, real reasoning behind it. It's like, hey, I'm trying to get to this level of CrossFit sport or this level of fitness, take the sport out of it. I need these weights to be heavier. And you're going to have some old school CrossFit truthers say, no, just go faster, just go intense. I use that line sometimes, right? Like, no. Nick Squire asked me if he should use a 30-pound ball for this last Bison benchmark.
Oh, right.
The wall ball burpee box jump over one.
Yeah.
And I said, no, go faster. And I'll tell you what, I think that he did more work. He worked harder because he went with a 20-pound ball. Some view it as, nope, 30-pound ball is a better workout because it's heavier. It's 50% more weight every single rep. Think about all those reps, Dave. You probably went slower. You probably broke it up. There are some people that could have done that with a 30-pound ball. So should they be doing it? This is where this is like a non-stop, always present thinking process that you're probably never going to have a clear solution to. But I think the intention of thinking about it this way, like Sam thinking about other people should have done level 2. I'm thinking certain people should have done level 2, but that person could have done level 3, level 1, whatever, right? It almost, is it too much complexity for what it's worth? What we're trying to do here as a CrossFit Bison affiliate.
That I think we're going to have to answer. Well, I think we can answer that question better like months into trying this.
Right.
I will say I talked to Nick Squire after that, and you heard him more by making him do multiple rounds of 31 wall balls unbroken.
Oh, yeah.
Which beat the living tar out of him. And he would not have been able to do that if it was a 30-pound wall ball. He admitted it was a better, or he acknowledged it was a better workout to go at 20 and go faster, go unbroken.
Yeah.
Which that is where some of these complexities, subtleties about the levels system is going to be dependent on the coaches.
Yep. And I don't want to put all that on coaches because it can be really tough to explain this when we're already pinched for time in a lot of cases.
You have to know the athletes well in order to help guide them. And otherwise, these athletes are going to self-guide and they will do what we just worry about. They'll go too heavy or too hard and not get the required stimulus, or they'll go too light and also not get the required stimulus.
A way to combat that is you come up with, I've seen gyms do this before. Don't love it, but there's merit behind it. You create a chart, you put it somewhere in the gym, you send it to people, put it on your phone. These are the things you have to be able to do to be a level 1 athlete here. Can't do one of them? Sure. Sorry, you can't do level 1. You got to stick with level 2. 10 unbroken ring muscle-ups will be up there. That's probably a little too controlling, but you could come up with, because we need objectivity here, right? You don't want someone coming in and be like, oh, dude, I crush snatches and muscle ups. Like, I can do this. Oh, but I can't walk on my hands, so I can't do level 1. It's, you can come up with certain rules for people, and it can be movement-based as well. And we try to do this at the whiteboard. Hey, guys, you should be able to snatch this unbroken if you're going to do this. We just did sumo deadlift high pulls yesterday, and it caught a lot of people off guard. And I said, guys, make today's weight choice on the sumos, not the hang cleans. I know you can hang clean it. Can you do 8 sumos in a row? And I saw people doing singles from the beginning because it was too heavy. I'm like, yep, too heavy, and like you guys really slowed down because of it. So you can give some guidance per movement, per kind of workout to the entire gym and take, because part of this is you got to protect people from themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually think another reason why I want to keep trying this is I think this can help get people healthier and protect them.
The problem is that when you stratify it like that, it's going to be where, as an athlete, I'm going to say, I will never be able to do level 1.
Right.
Why do I even, like, it kind of caps me or puts a ceiling on things.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people who are scaled athletes, it means a lot to them to be able to do a certain workout, not every day, but a certain workout as RX. I RX this.
I've seen people cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you take that away from them, and now they're like, well, I'm never going to be a level 1 athlete. I'll always be level 2. Or I'm always a level 3. I'll never be level 2. And now that incentive to go a little harder or keep improving or trying might not be as obvious to them.
Right. But maybe it could. But if I take away hey, if you can't do this, you can't do level 1 period, you could say, hey, you can pick every day what level you are based on what kind of athlete you are. Maybe it can give someone that will never be a complete RX athlete. They're never going to get to that point. As not even a goal but there's that one movement, those 2 movements that they can crush. And they see that workout 3 days ahead of time, like, yo, I'm going level 1 today. I'm one of the big dogs today because I can do this. But it takes away the pressure of needing to do everything to be a level 1 athlete, right? You throw pistols into that level 1 test, I'm out. So that means I can never do level 1 again. If anything, it's going to make me less inspired to work on other things. But if I'm allowed to pick level 1 today, level 3 yesterday, level 2 tomorrow, right? It can really almost expose objectively what my weaknesses are, like on a very truth basis. And if I want to get better at these movements, hey, I can never level 1 a workout that has strict handstand push-ups in it. Sucks. Well, guess what it's going to make you do if you care a lot about it? You're going to put extra work into those strict handstand push-ups so that when it comes up, and one of the things that we always want to teach people, you should work on your weaknesses.
Do you think the cachet or the allure of being a level 1 athlete will be the same as being an RX athlete at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you only get to wear this shirt if you're level 1. You get a blue shirt if you've done 100 level 1 workouts.
You know, there are gyms that do stuff like that.
No, absolutely. And I, teach their own. I think more than that, this is one of my cons that I'm actually probably more worried about than anything is people staying not in their own lane and looking at what other people are doing, what levels they're doing, and like, that person shouldn't be doing level 1. They can't, like, I'm better than them.
That was me.
Yeah. And, that happens on a day-to-day basis. Like, why did that person RX? I was like, why do you care? Shut up.
Yeah.
I
had to tell myself that.
Yeah.
That's hard.
And if it's an everyday, you got that one next to your name, Oh, I crushed that person in the open. Why are they doing 1? I'm doing 2. It's like that. It can get us, it can create issues that don't currently exist right now.
Mm-hmm.
To quote Ryan Radcliffe, like, is that net negative or net positive?
Mm-hmm.
There are positives that will come from this. There are negatives. Which one is more? And that's basically what needs to make the decision on whether or not we do level workouts from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I want to say is that before we wrap this up is I don't want this to turn into every single workout is going to have levels. There are, like, what if the workout is 7 minutes of burpees? Like, you're going to make level 1 do 8 minutes and level 3 do 5? Because now you're really fracturing the gym. A lot of rep schemes and workouts have flow to them. Like, numerically, there's mathematical relationships between schemes and numbers. And, we're not going to make 21, 15, 9. That's Fran. But level 1, you're doing 24, 17, 11, with 100 pounds instead of, like, that. You're starting to get away from the togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
So it can't be an everyday thing. It can't be an every movement thing. Most of it would center around loads on the barbell and then complexity of gymnastics, but everything else I think would remain the same. So again, this is just an ongoing topic in my head. I've had a lot of conversations with people. I always want feedback because I do. At the end of the day, the people determine what we're going to do. If everyone hates it, we don't do it. But we've talked about this with Masters RX. A lot of people come with different angles. There are people passionately on both sides because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel bad. And again, majority rules in a lot of cases. And so your opinion matters to me on this subject. Do you like the idea of levels? Is it too complex? Does it make your decision-making easier or harder? Does it make it easier to get to your next level of fitness? Does it impact your ego, your decision-making, all that?
I do appreciate the fact that as a programmer, you're taking on these different variations and challenges because it's time-consuming.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go easy, you would just be like, why bother? Let me just stick to RX scaled. We know that works.
Yep.
I do appreciate this. I know I'm going to take a lot as an athlete out of trying levels. I may effing hate it, but at that point, but regardless, the fact that if you as a gym or as a programmer want to experiment with this and see if it works for you, that I think we can all appreciate is an effort that is worthwhile trying.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Herd Fit podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.